Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 39th part of What If Deku Was Sanji's Reincarnation, My Heroes Reborn. The author of this great fanfic is Emily. Links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 39, Die Hard on an Artificial Island. Izuku got dressed. In between what happened with them all in this trip, Hibiki took him and Masahiro shopping. If they were going to get glares during the trip and during the gala, they might as well look nice. He struggled with his tie. Why do I not know how to tie a tie still? He grumbled to himself. Now a dramatization on why Izuku still doesn't know how to tie a tie. Sanji's memories guarded a door labeled Memories on How to Tie to a Tie. Why won't you let me use them? Cried Izuku. Trust me. It's better if you don't know how to tie a tie, said Sanji's memories. Why? Cried Izuku. Because you're much cuter without that knowledge, said Sanji's memories. Izuku just sweated when he said that. Back in the real world he gave up, and since everyone knew he couldn't tie a tie, he just figured he'd head over. He thankfully got to the meeting spot. Of course Ida started to grill him. Do you know how long you took? We had a meeting time for a reason, yelled Ida. He saw he wasn't the last one there. Todoroki, Masahiro, Mineta, and Kaminari were all there, with the last two wearing their waiter uniforms. Hibiki brought me here, explained Masahiro. I told him we were all going to meet up and he and Yuzu went on ahead. Okay, makes sense, said Izuku. At the gala, All Might was making small talk with some people when Hibiki approached him. Hello, friend from work, he said somewhat loudly. Hello, Orchestra Rave, said All Might, knowing that Hibiki was emphasizing that fact due to the fact he was hated on the island. Can I hang around you for a bit? He somewhat whispered. Yuzu's doing her fancy party thing. What? Asked All Might. He motioned to the buffet table and Yuzu was whistling nonchalantly, which is the universal sign of guilt, as she stuffed her purse with fancy foods. All Might could tell that her purse lined with plastic wrap. She does this every time, and I'm sure she would do this even if her quirk didn't run on calories, said Hibiki. All Might only sweat dropped at that. Back upstairs at the meeting location. That was when the girls arrived. Sorry for being late, said Achiko. Izuku looked at Achiko, who immediately started to blush. She was wearing a rather nice dress. Oh, that's a nice dress, he said rather nervously, managing to push away Sanji mode thankfully. I had to borrow it from Momo, she said. Achiko looked at Izuku in his suit and immediately started blushing. You look really nice, she said, fiddling her fingers. Yeah. Hibiki said if I was going to get glares we might look good, said Izuku. You were the one who picked our suits, said Masahiro. Really? Asked Toru. Izuku started blushing. Well, I know it sounds weird, but my old world's fashion sense was really weird. Yeah, it was filled with pirates, but everyone dressed in modern clothes. I wore suits most of the time in my past life, and Luffy dressed like a beach bum most of the time. Everyone stared at Izuku. Actually, said Momo blushing, my old world was a stereotypical fantasy world most of the time, but we had modern fashion too. Okay, just another reason to add to your past lives being too similar, said Masahiro with a sweat drop. Actually, said Achiko, fashion was like that too. Really? Asked Masahiro. I might you would see a lot of people wearing what you would think a ninja would wear, but then you'd see a guy wearing a t-shirt and jeans, said Achiko. Exactly, said Momo. I'm not kidding about the beach bum thing, he wore cutoff until his mid-20s, said Izuku. I had a thing for comfy hoodies in my past life when I was younger, said Achiko blushing. I once threatened a fashion designer to make one of my armors, said Momo. Before they continue the conversation about the strange fashions of their worlds, or pressed about the last fact, Melissa showed up. Hey! She called out. She was wearing a rather nice dress and appeared to be wearing contacts as she wasn't wearing her glasses.
Is everyone here? Asked Melissa. Except for Bakugo and Kirishima. Said Ida, I tried calling them but I haven't gotten a hold of them. Maybe it's better if they're not here. Said Kaminari. Yeah, it's Bakugo and he and Midoriya still can't get along. Said Kyoka with a shrug.
I'm sure they're fine though.
Said Toru.
That was when Izuku got a strange shudder.
Deku, what's wrong? Asked Achiko. Just a bad feeling. Said Izuku.
Note, said bad feeling had to do with what was going on with Bakugo and Kirishima, not was what was about to go down. It was something closer to home for him and far stupider.
Anyways.
In the gala, with All Might there was pushed to give a speech about David. As he was, suddenly the security system was triggered. All of the heroes at the gala were suddenly bound by strange bindings.
Followed quickly by men in masks carrying machine guns entering the room.
All Might tried to break through his.
Are you sure that's a good idea? Asked one of the men, there's a lot of civilians here.
All Might gritted his teeth. All through the island, emergency alerts were set out about an appear net bomb threat and everyone had to seek shelter for those who were outside. With the teens they became concerned when elevator wasn't working. Not only that but their cell phones were putting up the alerts.
That's weird. Said Melissa, if it's a bomb threat then there shouldn't be a lockdown like this. Something must be going on. Said Izuku. But the trackers are working, said Toru tacking out her transceiver. Seriously? Said Mashireo with a sweat drop. That's weird, everything's interconnected here. Said Melissa.
Not unless you're a smug jerk who rubs it in the faces of everyone on the island. Said Mashireo with a sweat drop. There was an awkward silence.
What happened today? Asked Achiko. You don't want to know. Said Mashireo while Toru patted his shoulder. Tried to kill him with T-Here mines. Reminded Toru. Either way. Said Momo, we should check what's going on.
Down in the gala, some of the criminals demanded a scientist and was about to take David's assistant, however David insisted on coming as well. Shortly afterward Izuku found a location that overlooked the gala, and right above where All Might was being held. All Might looked up and saw both Izuku and Kyoka who was with him. Thanks to her quirk, All Might knew he could speak quietly to tell them what was going on. A group of villains have taken not only the building but the ISNAD security system. They've also taken Dave and his assistant. Explained All Might. Kyoka relayed this to Izuku. They nodded and left to rejoin the others. On the gala floor, All Might sighed in relief knowing that Izuku was safe at least. That was when he saw a small metallic spider scurrying towards him. He began to sweat as it climbed on him and put something in his ear. He quickly realized whatever it wasn't from the criminals. Hey, how you holding up, big guy? Said Hibiki from the thing placed in his ear. Should have realized it. Said All Might quietly like before. Yeah, there's a reason why I'm hated on the island. Said Hibiki. Because you are a smug jackass and can't stop showing off how better you are, even if the reason why because in a past life you graduated from MIT as a teenager while in a world where pre-stress never went after you, you would more than likely be the star of a viral video of someone filming you trying to use Amazon, then you get so angry you do something incredibly stupid that they talk about it for a long time. Said Aiko, who was also connected to the earpiece that was given to All Might. Thank you, Aiko. Muttered Hibiki. So, about my question earlier. All Might quickly realize he meant his time limit. It's hard to say right now. Said All Might. That bad, huh? Said Hibiki. All Might sighed. On the bright side, the kids weren't captured. Said All Might. They weren't? Asked Hibiki. No, said All Might. Aiko. Emergency Procedure 2320. Said Hibiki. Right away, sir. Said Aiko. What's going on? Asked All Might. I might have lied to the kids when I said Aiko can only enter the transceiver if they hit the buttons," said Hibiki.
Back at the meeting spot, Izuku and Kyoka told everything that All Might told them. "Is there anything we can do?" asked Ochako.
"If we go to the top floor and go to the computers, we can turn off the Serenity protocols and free the heroes,"
explained Melissa.
"But all of the pros are being held hostage,"
said Momo. "Including All Might and Hibiki," said Izuku.
"Emergency procedure 2320 engaged," said Aiko's voice coming from Mashour's bracelet. Surprisingly, almost everyone, Lost Boy checking in. Everyone was surprised by the voice, with Melissa and Kyoka confused, and Mineta and Kaminari a little terrified due to the one time they met her.
Pirate Boy checking in," said Aiko from Izuku's transceiver. "Ninja Girl checking in,"
said Aiko from Ochiko's transceiver.
"Pony Girl checking in," said Aiko from Toru's translated. "Magic Girl checking in," said Aiko from Momo's transceiver. "Class Rep checking in," said Aiko from Ida's transceiver. "Tracker and transceiver are all engaged, working, and are being held by their owners. Good, I don't have to scold any of you leaving them behind," said Aiko from all 6 devices.
"Aiko,
I thought you couldn't show up unless we pressed the button," said Izuku. "Hibiki lied, we didn't want to bring up that in emergencies under his order I can enter them," said Aiko.
"Okay, is that a thing he forgot to bring up or was it deliberate?"
said Ochako.
"It was deliberate, considering I said he lied, yeah,"
said Aiko, "but the point still stands, right now I'm a middleman between you guys, Hibiki and All Might."
"Really?"
asked Izuku.
"Are you honestly surprised by any of this?" asked Aiko. "I'm a smartass AI talking to you through a thing that's really meant to track a guy who gets lost in a closet. Creating his own mini communication network is piddling compared to that." There was an awkward silence.
"Oh, come on. Can't someone say that shouldn't make any sense?" said Aiko.
"Most of us are used to Hibiki and his inventions by this point,"
pointed out Momo.
"Ugh.
Good point," said Aiko. What's going on?" asked Kyoka.
"Oh yeah.
Jiro, Melissa, this is Aiko, she's Hibiki's assistant," said Izuku. "But my name is really Aiko," said Aiko, "it stands for Artificial Intelligence Knows Objectively."
"Objectively what?"
asked Kyoka before anyone could stop her.
Of course it was her standard silence.
"That I'm better than you,"
said Aiko, who then played the air horns, though quieter than usual.
Kyoka looked at Izuku. "You know, this explains a lot about your exam."
"Oh, you saw it,"
said Izuku. "How do you two know her?" asked Kyoka, realized that Kaminari and Mineta knew her. "It's not important," said Kaminari.
"There's other things to worry about,"
said Mineta. "They're right, unfortunately, it's my job to get you kids to safety," sighed Aiko.
Then she burst out laughing, causing everyone to sweat drop. "Look, right now the entire island is under lockdown and there's nowhere really safe right now, and in fact the safest thing to right now is to make sure that the pros are free to rescue everyone," said Aiko, "which means whatever plan you were going to come up with before I showed up."
"What makes you think we were going to come up with a plan?" asked Izuku.
"I've known for you the past few months, also it's kind of obvious you were going to come up with a plan where you're the only ones able to do something,"
said Aiko. "She's not wrong," said Ochako.
"Look, right now us have 6 devices with me on it, if need be, you can split up 6 into 6 group just in case, though I wouldn't recommend it like at all."
"But just in case," said Aiko. "Melissa said that we can turn off the security protocols," said Izuku. "But we use our quirks, we could get in trouble," said Ida. "But at the same time no one else is able to act," said Momo. "Which means you're going, aren't you?" asked Aiko. "This is incredibly bad idea," said Ida. "We get it.
You're again after what happened with Hosu, but this isn't a black and white situation,"
said Aiko.
"She's right," said Todoroki, "we're the only ones who can do something.
We don't have to use our quirks to get up there," pointed out Toru.
"As always, it's a tricky gray area for you,"
said Aiko.
"I'm definitely going," said Izuku.
"So am I," said Momo.
Almost everyone started to agree. Ida sighed. "If something goes wrong though, I will be the one to drag us out there," said Ida.
"I agree as an approximation of a responsible adult," said Aiko.
"Ida's more mature than you are," said Mashireo with a sweat drop.
Says you,"
said Aiko.
"I'm pretty sure everyone who knows you will say so,"
agreed Achiko. "I just met you, and I'm pretty sure arguing with says you says everything about your maturity level,"
pointed out Kyoka.
"Ack," grumbled Aiko.
"I'm coming too," said Melissa.
"Wait," said Izuku, "what about?
Does any of you know to turn of security?"
asked Melissa. "And before you say me, even if I'm able to do this, I lost a lot of my capabilities when they shut down communications. So I can't exactly help with that right now, because these things don't have a USB port, so I can only enter these in any sort of device that Hibiki has on him, so she has to be the only turn everything off."
"She's telling the truth," sighed Momo.
"Probably," added Mashireo. "What have ever done that to add that probably?" asked Aiko. The sixth that knew her well was about to say something.
"Okay.
I don't need to answers," said Aiko.
"We can't keep talk about this," said Momo, "we have to go now."
"I know where the stairs are," said Melissa.
"I'll tell Hibiki and All Might. Time crunch after all," said Aiko.
They followed her to the stairs, with all the teens, mind Mineta who was scared, ready to go. As they headed there, Aiko told Hibiki and All Might the plan.
"Of course they're going to do something stupid," sighed All Might.
"Can't blame this time," said Hibiki, "they're kind of our only hope." All Might chuckled. "You sound kind of proud," said Hibiki.
"Of course not," denied All Might.
Hibiki chuckled this time.
"By the way, I was wondering," said All Might, "why didn't you give Yuzu one too?"
"Various reasons," said Hibiki.
"One is your health issues.
She can't know about them," said Aiko.
"Good point," said All Might.
"And just a bunch other of reasons," said Hibiki. "One of which would be revealed right then and there,
with Yuzu needing to voice a thought.
"Hey, I was thinking about something," said Yuzu. One of the criminals walked over to her.
"Look, just let me get my thoughts out,"
said Yuzu, "it has nothing to do with being a hero."
"You better not try anything funny," said the criminal.
"So we're in a skyscraper, right?" asked Yuzu.
"Yeah,"
muttered the criminal.
"And this a big party,"
said Yuzu.
"Yeah,"
said the criminal. "And you all took over a skyscraper in the middle of a party," said Yuzu.
"Yeah,"
said the criminal. "Son of a bitch. We're in Die Hard," said Yuzu. Several people looked at the bound pro hero who was next to the buffet table. Most of the people were confused. Hibiki looked like he wanted to face palm but couldn't. All Might had to stifle a laugh as even found it a little funny. One of the criminals on the other hand.
"We're not in Die Hard,"
he yelled. Then it was clear he was joining in the joke. "It's the middle of summer and not Christmas.
Ergo we can't be in Die Hard."
The man who was the clear leader looked at him.
"What? I found it funny,"
said the criminal, "and I happen to watch it every Christmas.
I have interests, you know."
The leader just shook his head. And with that, the teens were now in a situation that was truly hard, a die-hard one.
"Sorry,"
But in all seriousness, this was a bad satiation and the only hope was that they could to the floor and fix everything. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 40. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.